Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Spesh and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we've got another one of my stupid ass experiences for you lot, and this is the first time I ever took ketamine. Right, let's get straight into the story, no time wasting on this one. So this takes place about a year into me moving into care, maybe just under about half a year roughly, should we say. And it was my 17th birthday. Now coming up to my 17th birthday, moving into care, I got moved into this care home with this kid who we're gonna call him Charlie, okay, just for privacy reasons. I don't really know if he wants his name mentioned in the videos or not, but yeah, so his name's Charlie and he's the same age as me. And we've been moved into this care home and we've been having our fun with MDMA, we've been taking pills, we've been smoking a shit ton of weed, and let's just say we're getting a little bit bored of that. We're getting a bit bored of the alcohol, the pills and the weed. And coming up to my 17th birthday, the day before, I'm like, so I'm turning 17 tomorrow, I really want to try a different drug. And we've gone through like all of our plugs list, we'd gone through Coke, we'd seen Ket, we'd seen Zans, we'd seen Lean, we'd seen all of these different things. And for some reason, ketamine being the only drug that I'd actually heard of and not really thought it was that bad, decided that I wanted to choose ketamine because I knew it wasn't going to be as addictive as Coke and I didn't really want to become a Coke fiend. So yeah, I just decided that we're going to get some ketamine. And we just like sleep on this, we wake up the next day and I'd just turned 17, it was my birthday, and I didn't go to my mum or anything because we weren't on speaking terms at this point in my life, unfortunately. But yeah, so we decided we were going to get the ketamine. We'd called up the plug, and with the birthday money that I'd got from the care home, because care homes, at least the one I was in anyway, when you turn, whenever it's your birthday, they give you like £100 to like spend on whatever you want. So I just decided, you know what, I'm going to use this to get myself some Jordans and some ketamine. So that's exactly what I did. And we decided that we're just going to hit up the plug, be like, yeah, can you sort us like 2.5 grams of ketamine? Now, if I'm not wrong, I think that this was like £40 for the 2.5 grams, which that's about standard prices where I am, to be honest with you. So we decided to get this and we waited around for the plug to come. We still had a few more pills and a bit of weed, but we decided not to take any more pills today because we didn't want to mix like a class A drug with another drug that we'd never even tried before. So we just decided instead we're just going to smoke a bit of weed whilst we wait for this guy to get here. And we're waiting around for a bit, probably about half an hour goes by, and we get a call from the plug and he's like, yo bro, I'm outside. Now he would always pull up outside our house in his car and I would always go downstairs, right? I hope that my carers shouldn't see me going downstairs. I would jump out of my living room window and then I would walk to his car, get in his car, he would give me the stuff and he would drop me off around the corner, and then I would walk back to my house and I would climb back in through the window, hoping that my carers hadn't noticed I'd gone out through the window and locked it, locking me out of the house. Because if we went out the house and did something suspicious, they had every right to search us on entry as soon as we entered back in, and I did not want to get caught with this. But luckily, hey, I didn't get caught. So I walk back upstairs and I go up to Charlie and I'm like, yo bro, I got this stuff, like, let's go rack up a line. And he's sat there now and he's having second thoughts, he's having a little bit of cold sweats, he's like, I don't really know if I should do this, you know. And I'm like, right, watch, I'll do the first line and you decide if you want to do it after you see what I'm like on it, which is probably a bit of a stupid thing because hey, this shit could have been fake and it could have killed me, for to be honest with you. But luckily I'm pretty sure it was real stuff and it obviously didn't kill me because obviously I wouldn't be making this video here today. But yeah, so I rack up a line, and now when I say a line, I mean like a P2, P3 line of this shit. Now if you know ketamine, you know you're supposed to do little like P1 bumps off of a key, maybe not even P1 bumps, right? To especially for your first time, you're meant to take it nice and slow. Well, that's not what I did at all. I jumped straight into the bloody deep end and just hoped that I would swim because I did not do any research on this drug other than watch some people answer some questions whilst on this substance at a fucking festival. Which if you're going to take drugs, please do more research, because if this was like another drug, like for example meth or like fent or some shit like that, which by the way I've not took any of those two drugs, don't get your hopes up, but yeah, if it had been something like that and I didn't do my research and I decided to do this much of it, I probably would have overdosed and died. So yeah, please make sure you do your research on your drugs before you take them. And obviously, I rack up this line, and nowadays, if I was to do Ket, which I haven't really done Ket in about a good couple of months, I've been clean off of everything for a good couple of months now. I just smoke my weed, drink, and do some psychedelics every now and then. But yeah, so I racked up this line. I didn't crush it or anything. Like, I didn't crush down the crystals, nothing. There was just little, like, the only way I can describe it is like little tiny sticks of crystal, right? That's what it looks like. Little tiny sticks of crystals, okay? I just had that out on the, like, I think it was on my TV stand. I just put it there and I was like, right, hey, better now than never. And me and Charlie, we were a bit of fiends when it came to pills, right? So we had like this little pink tube thing that I'm not too sure where the hell it came from, but hey, we had it to crush up the pills and then snort the pills if we weren't feeling like popping them. Now, I wouldn't recommend sniffing pills as well because it fucking hurts. And when I say pills, I do mean Molly, by the way. I wasn't taking like Percocets or like triple C's or anything like that. It was just Molly at this time. And yeah, so I just put this straw to my nose after crushing everything up, and I sniffed it all straight up in one. And I waited around. He was like, "How you feeling, Spesh?" And I was like, "Honestly, I'm not really feeling anything just yet," which I thought was going to be a bit weird because obviously I heard stories about coke and stuff like that, and I knew that coke hit you instantly, and this didn't hit me instantly. I was sat there waiting around for about maybe more or less 15 minutes, wondering like, is this stuff real, is it not? But I did start to think it was real around I want to say like the 5 to 10 minute mark. I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit something, a little bit disorientated, a little bit, not zen, but it was more like being drunk in a way. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right, probably almost exactly at 15 minutes, it just slapped me round the face like a ton of bloody bricks. I laid back down. I started hearing helicopter sounds in my brain, right? And there was no helicopters. And my brain, it sort of felt weird, okay? So it was like my brain was being warped about, which now you could probably only understand this feeling if you've ever done ketamine. But it was like it was spiraling and being moved around and stuff like that. And I could feel it happening, but obviously this wasn't happening. Otherwise, I'll be a little bit like vegetated right now, and I'm not vegetated. So yeah, and when this started happening, I couldn't help but just start to laugh. And when I laughed, I felt like I couldn't really feel my mouth. And then I started moving my fingers around. And the only way I can describe this was my fingers felt like sticks or like knives, or like they were really like they'll be really easy just to like snap off and break. Like they felt really fragile, really like hard and weird. And I just lay back, I started laughing, I was just clapping my hands together and just like moving my hands about, and I started seeing traces like going around my hands and stuff. And I hadn't really done much psychedelics at this point other than a few acid tabs. And I was like, whoa, this is like really cool, but I wasn't saying much because I had lost all ability to speak at this point. Like I had no motor skills, I couldn't move, like I was trying to get up at some points and I just couldn't get up. And I couldn't speak. I was just sat there, and I remember Charlie looking at me and just being like, "Oh no, what have you done, Spesh? You're actually like an idiot," and like laughing at me and all this stuff. He's like, "I don't know if I'm gonna take this. I don't know if I'm gonna take this." And I remember the only word I could get out of my mouth was when he said this. I was like, "You should, bro. You should. It's sick." And yeah, it ended up taking, I want to say about maybe up to half an hour, 45 minutes for this to wear off and for me to start feeling down to level sober again. And then after that, I'm looking at him and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to take any of this, honestly, bro." And I was like, you know what? I think I might have done a little bit too much. And when I came down, I noticed this feeling as well. I don't know if I'd just been sweating a lot whilst on it or what, but it was like my hair was straw, and I felt like a horse, which is ironic considering it's like a horse tranquilizer, but it was like my mouth as well, you know that like thing that horses do. I kept doing that, and I don't know why, to be honest with you. I haven't really seen any like ket trip reports that say anything like that or anything about becoming a horse, but it felt like I was a horse. Maybe it's just because I had it in my head that like ket was a horse tranquilizer, but yeah. So obviously I've came down off of this, and then I've been looking at Charlie, and then I finally managed to get him to take a little bit. Now I thought he was being a bit weird at the time, because whilst I was in this sort of a K-hole, I don't think I did enough to break through to a K-hole just yet, but yeah, whilst I was in this sort of a K-hole, he was doing more research on it, like how much you should take, when you should take it, like how much space you should leave between each one and all this. And he goes and he just gets like a little bit out on the side and he just sniffs that up as well. And I was sat there like, surely that's not going to hit him. And then about 5 minutes later, he sat there, he's like, yeah, I'm feeling good, I'm not turning into a spag like Spesh, I'm not turning into a Spesh like Spesh, but yeah. And we just sit there, we carry on doing a few little bumps here and there whilst playing on some Rocket League and some, what was the other, oh, it was Call of Duty World War II gun game, which by the way, banging game. The recoil on all the guns are a bit mad, but it is a banging game. And yeah, so we get a little bit bored and we're like, right, it's my birthday, what else can we do here? So we're like, you know what, let's hit up my other mate that lives in this area and see if he's available. And it turned out him and my other mate, who also were on all sorts of drugs, were both available, and they both wanted to come do Ket, because only one of them had ever done Ket before and he fucking loved Ket. Now this other guy, he'd never done Ket before, he'd never really done any other drugs other than weed and ecstasy, I think. And we were like, alright, cool, let's go and meet them, let's meet these guys and see what they're saying, do a few lines with them, maybe smoke a few bit of weed, because they had said that they had weed on them as well. So we're like, okay, alright, sounds good, let's get this party going then. And we leave the house. We didn't really give any fuck about the carers at this point. I'm pretty sure we did too much Ket to the point where we're just oblivious that the carers even existed. And we left our house and we started walking down to the shops, and at these shops there was like a flat on top of all the shops, okay, and there was like a little tunnel or a little bridge in the middle of them that you could go through, which is what we went through. And we were just sat there waiting at the bus stop for our mates to get here, because the guy who lived in our area, he wasn't in our area at this minute, he was at our other mate's house, which I need to give these two a name. What two names should I give them? I'm gonna call one of them Ryder and one of them Harrison, okay? So Ryder and Harrison, they decided to come and meet us, and when they get off the bus, we all dap them up, give them a hug, we're like, hey, how you doing? Now we decide to go back to the flats where the shops were, and go like, it had like a ramp going up, and then it'll go backwards and up, like towards the bit of the shops where they could like fill up all of their stuff or like let out all their trash out the back. And we just went back there and we sat down and we were just chilling, and we just started doing lines of Ket and keys of Ket. Obviously I was listening more to Harrison because he knew how to do this shit, and I told him straight that I did a line on my first thing, and he just started laughing at me. And then he goes, right, let me see how good this stuff is. And he puts his key in and he does a hit of it, and he's like about 5 minutes later he's like, bro, I don't know where you've got this from, but this is some proper fucking rocket fuel right here. And great, I guess I was in luck, my first ever time doing Ket, and it was probably the best Ket I'd ever had. And yeah, so we sit there and we start rolling up some zoots, and I remember the zoot gets passed to me because everyone else is like, oh, they want to do a key, and I'd just done my key. And the zoot gets passed to me, and as I'm trying to focus on rolling this zoot, it was weird because all my focus abilities just went. I couldn't tell where the seam line was, I couldn't tell anything about this zoot. And I was just like holding it in my hands, really scared to move it in case I fucked it up and spilt the weed everywhere. And then all of a sudden, it was like I slowly just started to like go backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards until I could see myself holding the zoot in my hands, like. And then I just turned to Charlie and I'm like, bro, you need to roll this. Like, I'm looking at myself in Minecraft third person, bro, I cannot roll this bloody spliff. And he was like, Harrison turns to me and he's like, bro, I get you, honestly, I've been there before. Like, yeah, Charlie, just roll this spliff for him if you can. And he rolls up the spliff, he does it all perfect. Like, this guy, Charlie, right, he could probably roll a spliff in any circumstances. He could probably be asleep and roll a spliff, right? And yeah, he managed to pull the spliff off nice and dandy. Tapped it, poked it, and then he lit that, and we just started smoking up this. And it gets to the point where Harrison and Ryder are like, right, we want to go and get some fucking fish and chips. So we walk over to the fish and chips, and boy, the walk there, oh my god. Right, so the walk there, right, it felt like I was a Lego character. And when I got into the shop, I turned to Charlie, I'm like, bro, is it just me? Or does it kind of feel like we're in GTA? And he turns to me, he's like, oh my god, it does as well. I've been trying to understand what this feeling is, but I feel like a proper NPC. And I was like, bro, same, honestly, like, I want to get out of this shop, like, I don't want to be around people right now. And luckily, Harrison and Ryder managed to get their food sorted quick, and then we get out of this shop and we just go back there and carry on doing what we're doing. Now, unfortunately, this day was cut a little bit short because Ryder, obviously, I told you he'd never really done much drugs before. He'd only really done pills and weed and drank, and Ket must have been a bit too much for him, because he was like, bro, honestly, this is too much, like, I can't do this. And we're like, alright. So Harrison and Ryder, they got ready to go home, and they gave us a bit of weed to go home with as well. They rolled us up like 2 zoots and then gave us a bit of weed in a baggie as well. And we just walked home, and the whole walk back home, it was probably like 10-minute walk to get there. It probably took us like half an hour, but the whole walk home was just like NPC galore. I didn't feel anything other than like a bloody GTA character, as I said. And as it was still like I was looking at myself in third person through that whole walk home as well. And then we got home, we go upstairs, we go into Charlie's room, which was unusual because we'd usually go into my room, but we just decided to put on some bloody Rocket League and start seeing if we could play that. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever done Ket, but if you have, you know that playing a game on Ket is near enough impossible. Like, you'd be driving around in GTA and you think that you're doing well, but you're just driving into a wall the whole time. Or you'd be trying to play Rocket League and you'll just be flying around the map. And that's exactly what I was doing. And honestly, it probably took a few days before I got good at playing Rocket League whilst on ketamine, and that was probably only because my tolerance had built up. But this 2.5 gram of ketamine, right, it lasted us a good couple of days. And if you want to hear the rest of the story on the rest of this ketamine, then I guess you're gonna have to wait, because this video is gonna have to end here. But that was my first time ever doing ketamine, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's not really that good of a drug, to be honest with you. Like, there's not really much of a body feeling. You just feel a little bit tipsy and a little bit high, like high on weed. Like, if you drank and smoked, that's sort of how you would feel. And yeah, we just sat there and played some Rocket League for the rest of the night and carried on doing bumps and shit. And when I woke up the next morning, actually, I'll tell you this, it felt like I'd just been in a hospital. Like, that's the closest thing I can describe to how, like, waking up the next day after doing it felt. It felt like I'd been in a hospital and I didn't know how I got there, type shit. But yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, then make sure you subscribe. And peace.